This show is being brought to you by Shape Web Design, shaping a better tomorrow. Right, so here we go. Hi, this is Robert from GHTR, the nation's podcast radio. And I'm here today with Pamela Purcell. She's from Fremont. I've known her my whole entire life, and I actually knew Pam. I met Pam when she was just, I think she was in diapers at the time. She was such a young girl. Biggest blue eyes you've ever seen. I used to call her Blue Eyes all the time. I grew up with her brother, Tim, and I just known the family my entire life. So Pam's here with us today to kick off her new adventure. And so, what do you think? How do you like being here right now?
I am excited to be here. You're not going to want to miss a thing.
Okay, all right. So, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and where how you came to be where you are today?
Many, many moons ago, it started. But at 1994, that is when my adventure kicked off. When I met John Peniel, he later went by Katumi John, and I went on an adventure with him for 2 years. He taught me so much about health, but he also taught me that if there is a phone, that you should call home. ET phone home. Back in the Bible times, they didn't have phones. So when you left your family, you left and you would see them when you saw them again. Well, that was great back then. I mean, that was a great concept, but now you can call home. So please always call home. And so the first thing was he helped me get rid of a breast lump on my right side. He taught me what to do. And it involved castor oil, which you can get a brand by Edgar Casey. Palm of Christ, the Palm of Christi, the Palm of Christ oil. And I massaged my breast, every day for at least a month. And it was a little painful because there was something going on there. And it ended up, the lump went away in time, with body brushing and some other herbs and fasting and praying.
Right.
I was able to heal that from going any further, because nowadays they just want to go right in and cut your breast off, because that's big money. Mm-hmm. But there's other ways that you can do before that happens.
Right.
And some people are facing that right now, that somebody close to me that I know down south, trying to figure out, should I get them both cut off because their breast cancer had come back.
That's a solution. I mean, today, it seems like cancer these days, or even if you want to call them lumps, are things that, is... The question is back when you were John, through all the spiritual healing and stuff like that, I had learned a lot through you guys about, learning to eat a little bit healthier, learning to live healthier, learning to be happy and not have all this anger and stuff built up. I remember one time specifically where we were sitting around at the trailer there, and you were no TV. I didn't see no radio. I didn't see nothing. You guys were basically living off whatever you guys had, which was pretty much nothing. You had each other. You had, I don't even know the word to call it, but I remember going to that spiritual church with you. I remember you singing to me, you and John singing to me and stuff like that. A lot of people don't believe in natural healing, and this is why you have been doing this for quite a long time.
Yes, 25 years.
Right.
And I've always been health-minded. I mean, vegetarian-minded in a meat-eating, deer-hunting family, which there's no judgment on anybody's diet, but that is one topic I'd like to cover on my channel. Mm-hmm. That's a big topic. I mean, Hippocrates said that let thy food be your medicine and let thy medicine be your food.
Correct.
And so there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of truth.
Right. And and the other things that I've learned over the years is when you and John had gone and went on your journey, I was kind of left by myself to kind of take this, take the what you've given me and what you left behind for me. And what it was is for about it was like 4 years after that I didn't eat meat. I was actually vegetables, fruit and vegetables at the time, and I had eliminated a lot of that from my life, and I was healthy. I wasn't not healthy, where people would say, "Hey, why don't you eat meat?" Well, I just, you know, okay, I just don't eat it because I don't want to call myself a vegetarian because I don't think I was a true vegetarian. I didn't know how to say I was, or like at one time it was like a fruitarian or something like that. You had mentioned that to me, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't, that was one part I didn't know how to do that. But the greatest thing was is that I did notice a lot that I seemed to be a lot healthier. I had a lot more energy. Um, but then come one time when I decided, well, okay, I'm not going to eat pork, but I'll eat chicken or I'll eat beef. And then lo and behold, years later, I would find out that beef is not the best meat for you, especially because it's the hardest meat to digest in your body.
Yes.
So it's been a struggle, and there's people out there like me who have basically been a part of this whole thing, like have seen this growth. And then when you say I used to do this, people don't understand why. And it was you and John who actually showed me why. You never said, "Hey, don't eat that. Let us cook you up some. Why don't you try this? This is really good." I remember that.
Mm.
And it was simple. You didn't. It didn't cost a lot of money.
Broccoli and avocado, if I remember correctly, a
Yep,
couple
yep, yep,
times.
yep. And I forget what the oil you cooked it in or something
Oh,
like that.
extra virgin olive
Yep.
oil, first cold pressing.
There you go. See, she knows. So, but the thing about it was I enjoyed it. It was tasty. It didn't taste bad. And then, so that's kind of what I did after I started sticking to that. And then, of course, I got with another person who completely threw that off the table, but that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
we all fall sometimes, but
Yeah.
just recently I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And when I first heard the news, I was in the hospital, and basically my thought is I was gonna die. That's the reason why I thought that is I thought that years ago, because I thought if I'm gonna have cancer, I'm not gonna go through all the chemotherapy. I'm not gonna go through all that stuff. I'm not gonna put my family through that. I'm just gonna let God choose the day, put me out. I'm done, you know. And but I was out golfing one weekend with some friends, and I got injured, and I had to go to the hospital because we got sick. And they ran a bunch of tests on me, and it come back. We don't see anything major, but your sugar level is extremely high. You might want to get that under control. And
Yeah.
so I talked to a specialist, and basically she said to me, "Listen, I'm just going to tell you flat out. You could beat this. You don't have to have the operation. You don't have to take insulin. You don't have to do none of this stuff. You just have to
True.
change the way you eat
Yes.
and start getting more exercise."
Yes. Well, we have some challenges I've come up for both of us. So
Yeah, right.
that's
So,
down the road. We got to get started on. There's a lot to cover. There really is a lot to
right.
talk about.
So your journey over these years has led you a lot of different places too. I mean,
Absolutely. We should get a map and from where I started and then see what kind of a star it makes. Because my mind's been with Australia, praying for them and for the rain. And um, that was one of the places I went. That's why I bring that up, because that's like, I feel like another home to me. Um, I mean, I wasn't there for that long, but a couple months is, I just love the land. I love the people, and they're hurting, and the animals, and so we pray for them, and comfort and healing and water, rain. Um, it would be interesting to see. I would like to, maybe we'll have to do that to start the journey and how it all went down, because there's that Oregon experience with living in the teepee for that summer, with access to that teepee house and doing that 7 days on water, and
Right, right.
that's and then the Hawaii, the seashore for 21 days on fresh squeezed orange and coconut water, and breaking the fast on the fruits, because I was just living in a 2-man tent with John at the time. So there's a lot to talk about, and I am the conspiracy queen that believes that it's a conspiracy fact. And, there's just so much to talk about, but I do want to stay positive.
Well, you have to stay positive,
Yes.
especially in this day and age.
And humor, you can turn a really difficult subject into easier to listen to accept through
Correct.
humor. That's what I try to do too. People might think I'm a little cheeky.
Yeah.
But
you don't. It
that's
doesn't
me.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You are who you are.
I
And you
am
always,
all that I am.
Yes, and that's what I love about you. You have
Thank
always
you.
been your own person. You have never tried to be something other than yourself. And Pam's going to be joining us here at GHTR. She's going to be actually joining me on some radio shows when we do our live podcast. And
Yes,
stuff
I
like
am.
That. And we're actually, this is going to be the introduction to that.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, for 2020, we're actually going to be kicking off. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the government and talking about what's happening right now with everything, and
Yes.
how people are hating on President Trump, and he's trying to do some good things, but it seems like there's so much hate.
Nobody's perfect. I'm the first to admit, I feel like I'm one of the worst sinners of them all, and if you haven't sinned, then you're able to throw the first stone. Who
Right.
has not sinned?
Correct.
Okay,
correct,
I
correct.
got everyone to be quiet there, including myself.
So your journey has led you to a lot of different changes in your life as well. And one of those things is that you did have a daughter.
I do have a daughter. She's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
She's right now with her dad in Maryland, and I look forward to reuniting the family. The family got ripped apart due to some very not nice, evil cabal criminals in the government. I'm against all this, alphabet soup agencies, CIA, FBI, all of them. I don't need to go down the whole line. Criminals in Action stands for CIA, that kind of thing. And so there's a long story, because it does go back even to my mother, who received electronic shock mistreatment. They chose her because she had white blonde hair, blue eyes, a very intelligent mind. And then so Steve, he grew up around the CIA people, and he had his own journey, and it's really a tragic story. It really is, and I'd like to see victory for all of us and be reunited, as a family again, and just to be together and be happy. And her childhood has been ripped away from her for what about I'm about to share with people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that story right there is amazing story, that how strong you have been here to support your family through your dad's passing.
And my sister, who passed in 10 days time. Imagine that. In 5 days, she was bedridden in the home, with hospice and all that. I mean, she found out she had cancer on July 10th and passed away 10 days later on the 20th, July 20th, 2017. She was the glue that kept the family together. You see, I was away, for 12 years. I like to joke around and say, I wasn't away at the big house. I was out of state living somewhere else. It's just a joke. But to come back, and my mom was ill, near-death experience with blood poisoning from lithium, and she'd had a couple other things go on in her life. We'll get to all that. This is going to be a long journey.
Right.
To explain everything, but I'm willing to explain it now. I wasn't able to before. I was under silence programming, those of you who know what that is. But I'm not going to be silent anymore. It's my duty as a human to let everybody know what's going on from what I know. And
Right.
believe me, the more I know, the less I know. and that this goes really deep down the rabbit hole. So we're going to have to find a balance between sharing some dark, really dark, not very nice information that most humans can't even fathom. I mean, I feel like I've been numb to it now. You know, like hardcore,
Right.
the cops and stuff. You know, they've seen a lot like that. Like, so for me to just rattle it off, I got to be mindful of how I present things because it really is shocking.
Well, it is, and the thing about it is, we don't know. We, as a nation, as American people, as homeowners,
We
as
think we're free here, but we're not. I
we're
could tell you
not, we're
that.
not. No, and I agree with that. I believe we have freedoms, but they're
Enough to make you think you're free.
correct. And so, yeah, I mean, you have been down a real rough road, and I remember when you were, I think you were living in Florida at the time. I was talking to your dad one time we were talking, and your dad was like practically my dad. He
Yeah.
was like my second father, and he'd always say, "What it be?"
Yeah.
"What it be?" And I
Yeah.
go, "Well, it's So have you heard from Pam? Oh, she's down there. She's married. She's having baby and stuff like that." And I got to experience your life through your parents of what they knew, what they only knew, and your whole family has been through enough struggles in their life and stuff like that. And the biggest thing, talking about Teresa, let's talk a little bit about
Yes,
her.
Teresa, my sister,
Um,
who died
she,
untimely.
I
Big
think,
pharma.
her problems all started back when she was labeled,
Yeah.
and
And the criminal psychiatry that put her on those drugs at Pine Rest. I mean, I don't know, Pine Rest might be doing good things for people now, but I can tell you what, my sister went in and she came out. That wasn't my sister.
that was
She was a
I knew
zombie.
her. I knew her when her and I went to high school together.
Yeah.
She was, of course, a lot younger than I, but uh, she was always a smart person, and she was always intelligent. And then, of course, when I noticed when she started going to Pine Rest and she started having these things, it just changed her. Like, it wasn't the same person anymore, and everybody drew back from her.
Yeah.
I heard stories of her, going off her medication, and then she'd have these episodes where she'd be violent and all this other stuff. I didn't believe any of that. I believed that, honestly, one of your cousins, Sue, had told me once. She says, how she said it is, those drugs they give you don't fix you. They don't make you better. They keep you controlled.
Mask. It's a
Right.
mask.
Yeah, and when she told me that, and then of course in 2001 when I went through my ordeal, and I ended up on, I mean, I was 265 pounds. I was in good health. I had an accident, and I had suffered from post traumatic stress disorder,
Mm-hmm.
and
Very familiar.
they put me on all these medications, and I didn't do nothing. I just laid around, uh, watched TV, ate. My whole life was that for 4 years, and I got overweight. And then one day I was sitting at my dad's house, and I was sitting there, and drool came out of my mouth. And my stepmother said to me, she says, "You have got to pull yourself together." She goes, "This is not you. This is not you. Please stop doing those things." And I did start, but the scary part about it was when I went to get off the medications, they told me, "You can't quit right away. You have to wean yourself off from it, because if you quit, you're going to die."
That couldn't happen.
What kind of medication do these doctors give you where if you stop taking it, it's going to kill you? And then, of course, you ever hear the commercials of all these medications?
And the side effects, well,
Five seconds of what good it does for you, and then the rest of the 30
Yeah.
seconds, it's all the crap that could kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard those, and it's ridiculous. Yeah.
So this new journey that you're on, this new thing. What really promoted you to want to do this? To now become a little bit more in the public eye, and reach out there. What was it that what got you to this point?
Well,
Because
let me
you've
tell
been
you, Rob.
so
Let me
private.
tell you, Rob, I have been private and I kind of rather enjoyed being the hermit, kermit kind of person because it's easier to do that and just to read your books. But you know what? I got nudged by spirit to do something, and then I got nudged more, and then I got a big swift kick in the seat of my pants to get out there because we're in a critical time in history,
Mm-hmm.
and the earth needs our help. So I believe when one person heals, that we all heal a little bit. We're able to heal a little bit more. If you quit smoking cigarettes, then the next person, we're all connected, you see. So they're going to be able to quit a little bit better, easier,
Correct.
Or and
Correct.
when one person hurts, we all hurt on a subconscious level. You don't know about your subconscious yet, but you will, and how it affects you. And we can reprogram, deprogram, then reprogram, and get well. No one ever taught us that we can heal ourselves, healing through frequencies. If you think about it, we can talk about the Albert Einstein, E=mc², and how matter and energy and matter energy is even more real than matter. So, because like you think your desk is solid, well, really, it's just molecules vibrating at a high rate of frequency, and it's not solid.
Correct.
So maybe a lot of people don't know these little things that others do. So we're going to tell everyone, so it helps you understand, how we can heal this planet in a matter of seconds, like through the power of the thought, the mind. But we all have to be on that same frequency, and so sky is not the limit. Your beliefs are your limits.
Correct.
And so why I come out is because I want to help humanity. My daughter is part of humanity, and I want her to have a place to grow up the rest of the way. Her child has been ripped away. We'll get into that another day. But, the whole world, all the children are my children is how I look at it. This planet is my mother. That's how I look at it. And so I want to help heal the waters. I want to help heal the people. And we can, heal the earth together, all of us together. We are united, not divided. That's what they've kept us here, has been divided.
Well,
Both political parties are controlled by, ones, you know what I mean? So, but then they get you divided. And then the colors and this and that, we are all one. I don't care, red, brown, yellow, black, and white. We are precious in the Creator's sight.
correct. Correct. Well, the thing about it is you brought up an interesting subject about united and divided, and right now this country is divided.
Absolutely.
No matter how you look at it,
Yep.
it's called United States, okay, but it's not united, so it's just America to me right now.
Yeah.
And when you talked about spiritual healing, you want to help humanity, you want to help people, you want to help all this other stuff. What do you say to the people who just don't believe in this? Who don't share, who might think, you're a little bit out there. How do you respond to people like that?
The fruits will speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to know people by their fruit. And, if I share with you something and you try it on your own too, and you're going to reap results, then that's how you know. And then you take it through your heart and your gut too, and listen to yourself. We all have intuition, and we have been, we've forgotten a lot of what we really are. We are like multidimensional beings in a, earth suit, and we've kind of forgotten our power. And I want to help, and this journey is for me with you. This is kind of nice because I'm learning and relearning things I've known, and I want to do it right along with you. I'm not the epitome of health yet, or I cancel clear. Our words are powerful. That's another thing we'll talk about. Our words are powerful, and where your attention goes, your energy flows, and you create your reality and all that. But I want to go along this journey with you. I want to learn. I mean, I don't know everything. Like I said, the more I know, the less I know. But I do have some tips and tools and things I've learned along the way. And I hope everyone will be able to interact with me and help me to learn and grow along with you.
Right. It takes a lot. It takes a group of people.
It does.
And the thing about it is when it takes a group of people and people are working together uh, to create that one thing. It's back in the '60s. We had they called them the hippies. Let's just say it, okay?
Hmm.
And when I first met John, that was my first thought. This guy's right out of the '60s. I mean, he was perfect. Uh, and then I remember him giving me the 12-string guitar. And unfortunately, that was stolen from me. Just so you know.
Wow.
But the thing about it was that harmony.
Mm-hmm.
You don't worry about bills. I'm not worried about what I'm gonna eat tomorrow. I'm just living every day, one day at a time. And I think in this day and age, people are all caught up in what they can get, what they can get. What
We
they
are
can get.
spoiled brats here in America. I will say
Oh,
that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
all over too. But I mean, seriously, are spoiled brats here.
Yeah, we are also not only spoiled, but we don't know how good we do have it, other than other countries.
That's part of being a spoiled brat.
Yeah, and so with you doing this new, we're gonna be working with you throughout this whole thing, and your whole thing, the message that you're gonna send is like a learning, kind of like a learning, and you're gonna learn. People are gonna learn from you, and then hopefully people will come to you and you can learn from them.
Absolutely.
And so the new website is going to be something that you haven't picked the name quite yet.
Positively Pamela. We're still going with that, I think.
Okay, is that what you want to go with?
I think so.
I think it was the first one. Believe it or not, when you said it, remember I told you over the phone, I said, I can agree or disagree with you on it. I'll tell you flat out, and that's the one that stuck.
And you already made the beautiful, website design for it, or
Well,
so
the starting of
yeah.
what's to come, and you do have a lot to learn in this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and to do a podcast, and not only a podcast, but also to do a video, is a consistent thing.
Yes,
And
commitment. Oh boy.
it is, and this is right what you see in here. You don't see the office. You don't.
Yeah.
If everybody saw what's in this one little tiny room, actually, we're going to be doing another interview probably in a couple weeks. We're going to be in a different location, but we're going to be in a location where we can talk about other things that's going on. And that's one of our other podcasts that we're going to put out there. But your first show, we're going to work together, and we're going to get you out there and show you how to do it.
Awesome. Thank you. Love and gratitude.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is how does this happen? And I'm going to kind of give you an idea what my thoughts are.
Okay.
So years ago, for whatever reason, okay, when you got married the first time, and we remember we did your wedding and stuff like that,
Yes.
and then the next thing, there's a change of life for Pam. Pam says, "This is not my journey. This is not where I want to be."
I was only 17 years young, a senior in high school, married, still got all A's. But yes, it's kind of young to get married.
Well, it is, and the thing about it was, okay, is at my age at that time, and I saw what you were doing. Did I think you were? What is wrong with her? Why is she doing? I was like, do you remember what I said to you? I said, maybe, you know me, I say a lot of things. So.
Yeah, so help me out here.
Okay, I said to you, if you need to do something, you need to do it for yourself, and don't worry about what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever took that, but the funny part about it is when I saw you at that point where everybody else was like, she's going off her rocker, she's off to do this, she's off to do that. I was like, in my own deep inside, I was like, no, she's living life. And she's living life the way she wants to, under her rules, the way that she wants to. She doesn't care what people think. You don't care what people think about you.
I don't, but I do care what the creator thinks of me.
But right. Okay, but the thing about it is what is God thinking of you?
I hope he's thinking I'm doing the right thing now. I haven't always. I fall short many times every day.
Everybody does, but he doesn't expect you to be perfect. He doesn't expect any of that. But okay, so think about that. So back in that time, I was in your life for a very short period of time where you were teaching me things. A young, beautiful girl telling me the things that I need to change to be a better person. And I did. I took those things and I applied it. Because if you remember, that was right after I had my first divorce. I was really angry. I was doing a lot of crazy stuff. And
yeah.
And the thing about it was you had always been that person who changed the course of how I treated other people. Because the thing about it was it's kind of like okay, it was a combination of you and another person.
Mm-hmm.
And these two people who came into my life taught me that I don't need to be angry because I am the one that controls that.
Yes.
No one makes me do it. No one
you're only hurting yourself when you're angry at others.
Correct. And
forgiveness is the key.
The other person who said the same thing. Robert, you're this wonderful guy. You're too great of a person to have this much anger built up inside you.
Yeah.
And then Christianity, taking the path of the Lord and following what he wants me to do. And some people will get scared about that. The reason why they get scared is because they feel if they have to go that route, they have to change everything in their life. And that's not what God's asking us to do. God doesn't ask us to quit drinking. God doesn't ask us. He tells you, kind of like what I told Elizabeth, my daughter, growing up.
Yeah.
If you feel in your heart that it's absolutely wrong, it's probably wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice.
And if you feel it, what's right or what's wrong. And that's, you know what I'm saying?
It's ingrained in your heart, It really is. We all know right from wrong. We all know actually we have a connection to the source.
Right.
But we might turn the other way for whatever reason,
And some of us, like when they talk about sinning, when they talk about this, when they talk about that. Now, you were brought up in a Baptist church your whole entire life, your youth.
Yes, I went to the Olympics, the Awana Olympics. I started out as Sparky.
For whatever I remember, I think I remember that. And your sister did. She was in it too.
Oh, she was in Awana, yeah. And that might have been. Did she go to the Olympics too? I'm not sure, but I know that I went.
Bill was, and I know Tim wasn't he?
I don't know. We were all in. My mom was an Awana leader for 18 years, and then we would go every Sunday, sometimes on Wednesday, but for sure every Sunday.
Me and Tim were in Awana together.
Well, then that makes sense to me.
Because we grew up with that.
You were in other things together, shooting birds in the garage with a BB gun or something, and leaving.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget your dad going in that door, boy, and your brother's standing up, going, "Holy crap! What did you do?"
You spoke at the funeral about that one, so I'll never forget because I was kind of young. But it seems like I remember something going on that day.
Yeah,
Dad wasn't happy.
No, he was very angry. I had to go home that day.
I'm sure you did.
And
you didn't want to look at you that day. Though.
No. There was a lot of holes in that road.
Salt of the earth right there.
But those are
Stan
the
man.
Yeah, those are the memories. Those are the memories that we have. And, through spiritual, looking back, like my mom passed away in August.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I know. But, God, I was so, what's the word I'm looking for? I was happy for her. I was
You were at
extremely
peace with her passing.
my I had my mom when my mom got sick.
Mm-hmm.
I had already accepted the inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So people ask me, they go, "Well, why didn't you cry when your mom? Why were you laughing at the gravesite? Why were you joking around?" And I go, "I'm happy that my mom's not here and she's in heaven right now. She's happy. Why do I? Why would I be crying? She's not suffering anymore.
Yeah, that's the
She's,
big thing right
and the
there.
thing about it is people they just didn't get it, and what it was, the fact that the guy that was there presiding over my mom's graveside was a young guy. My mom knew his mother and father when they lived in Leslie. They grew up together and stuff. My mom and my dad used to go out to dinner together. And I used to play with the little boy when we were about 7 years old. We're about the same age. And we saw each other for the first time at my mom's graveside since we were 7 years old.
Oh my.
So we were
Wow.
talking about where my mom's at. We were talking about how my mom used to chase me around the yard with the fly swatter, and I was a terrible kid. But the thing about it is when I left the graveyard, when I left the cemetery, I left with my held head high, and I didn't shed a tear. I put my hand on my mom's coffin. I said, "Mom, I'll see you sometime soon."
Probably. Yeah, the veil between these worlds are thinning for sure. So I believe we will be seeing our loved ones that have passed
Yeah,
on,
yeah. And
like
then,
that sooner than later.
but yeah, I mean, those are the memories, and it's just like when your dad did pass. I had when I went up to talk, it was not easy for me to do that.
Thank you for doing that, by the way. We have that on the disc too. Yeah, it's nice to have that
It's
memory.
because I wanted to continue a little bit more. I was going to tell a couple other stories, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to compose myself because one of the greatest men I ever knew, who was the most kindest person, who went over and above his way to help all of his children,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't
Say that
matter.
again.
Money didn't matter to him,
Mm-mm.
and even to the point with me. I mean, he helped me in a lot of ways when he didn't have to, but he did it because that's the kind of person he was.
Yeah.
And the last conversation I had with him was I was at the house, I was visiting, he was sitting in his chair, and the last thing I remember is he said, "Would it be, Robert?" That's what
Would it be? Would it be?
I know, wasn't it? It's like I remember that, but seeing him in the coffin, I was just like, that's not the man I knew. The man I knew is right up here.
In your memory.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. I think that's the way it always should be.
Yeah. Well, this day and age, your memory can be spliced, swiped, diced, and even omitted and inserted. And that's more talk of the quantum physics and mechanics, and there's a lot to talk about.
I told you that's why I
Whew.
think I'm looking forward to this.
Me
Because
too. That's why you don't have to worry about my commitment. I mean, I'm committed. And if this goes so well that we have to do it more often, then we will. We need to get the information out. We really, really do. There's like a certain order, and I'm not sure what the order is, but we might have to do a variety show, like put some of this in and then talk about that. I don't know how it's all going to flow. You're going to help me,
You're in good hands.
Okay,
Believe
I know
me.
I am.
Like I said, I gave you a couple movies that I think would be really good for you to watch.
Yes.
A couple YouTubers out there who are doing this. One of the things that we can actually talk about right now. We can talk about the new journey. What is it that you hope? What is it that you want to give back to people?
I want to give back to people the knowledge and wisdom that I have gained on my journey. And some of it's been very hard to get that knowledge and wisdom.
Correct.
And I just want to give it out freely. And And some of the stuff that I'm relearning myself, because back to the memory and the brain, I'll tell you the story about that later, but the brain that has no firewall, let's put it that way. And with these, they have technologies. Okay, you have to understand that the military is at least 30 to 50 years ahead of what they're announcing to the public.
Correct.
So
And,
now we're knowing about brain mapping, and this and that is out. They've been doing things for a long time, and they're actually been hurting people and testing on innocent civilians with these weapons. And they're hurting people in California. Not all of those fires were due to they were due to directed energy weapons at beaming at the top of the home. You go look at some of the videos, and you'll see the fire starting from a little circle at the top of the roof. That is not from a natural cause. And then you look at the pictures around it and see what's burned and what's not. These are directed energy weapons. This is what I really need to get out to the world. I don't want to scare anybody, because we know, Almighty God Almighty is in control of everything, the good and the evil. I mean, there's a lot of Bible verses in my head, and there is a Bible verse about the Creator's in control of it all. But we do need to protect ourselves. I feel like this is a war. It's silent weapons for quiet wars. I believe that is a book. And they've been employing stealth military grade weapons on innocent civilians. We are all targeted. Let's face it, some to different degrees. We are being dumped with chemtrails and nanoparticles, and our food is being poisoned, and the water's being poisoned, and it's just insane what's going on. You think, well, aren't the people that are doing it, aren't they afraid to die? No, they are destroyer forces that are no longer allowed on this planet, but it's still got to play out, and we still have to do our part. So that's why I'm stepping into my role, I like to say, as a galactic ambassador of love, light, and unity. Now, don't let the galactic part scare you. I did come and enter the earth plane as a human, but I believe we all are multidimensional beings in a human form. And some of us just happen to know it.
let me ask you a question. Do you believe in life on other planets?
Absolutely. I don't know how there couldn't be if you do the science behind it. As above, so below. You take just even like a 12 or 1 foot by 1 foot piece of earth and look in how many life forms are in just that one little square inch, or a square inch of earth, and see how much life. So to me, as above, so below, and yes, there are other.
That's a question I get.
I love to say this. I came from the future through the past to get to the here and now because I saw that the earth and the people were in trouble.
Yeah.
So yes, I believe in other life forms out there.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good one.
We're gonna have fun, Rob. You and I.
I know. Okay, so here's my thing.
Okay.
I believe that there is life on other planets. I believe that how you determine life is a very broad, because like you just said, a square foot is there's so much life in this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that there has to be walking, talking entities or humans, because a human is a human no matter if it's on a different planet or whatever. But I believe, in my heart, I believe that God has created different areas for different. I mean, think about it. I mean, why wouldn't he? I think like when we talk about going to heaven, maybe we're just transported to a new planet.
Many mansions, many dimensions,
There
different
you go.
levels. We are all on different levels.
There
It's
you
like
go.
a video game. This is what I like to tell anyone that'll listen, because a lot of people don't listen. But life can be like a video game about their levels go up. The bad guys' levels go up if you feed them anger, guilt, shame, low self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when their levels go up. But if you want their levels to drain, you need to stay positive, as hard as that is sometimes, and to be in the love vibration, stay in a high frequency where they can't touch you. So then your levels rise up. So we want their levels to go down, and we want to rise up in unity, rise up in the consciousness level. I've been talking about consciousness since I was in my teens. I mean, in my mind, I have a whole lot going on up there. So if I ever am talking to myself, I'm just having a staff meeting. But anyways, that was a joke.
Oh no, but no, it makes perfectly good sense. I mean, the thing about it is, and then I have a friend of mine who during late night with Rob and Chris here on GHTR, we one of the things he talked about was Bigfoot, And I go, well, I'm just going to tell you this. I believe that there's life on other planets more than I believe that there's a Bigfoot.
Ah.
And he goes, well, there's all the. I go, no, there's not evidence. There's nothing. With today's technology, the rapid growth of humanity, by now there would have been some kind of capture or whatever. And then you talk about the military and stuff.
But I also talk about dimensions. So what if it slips into, if I don't want to be seen, it can slip into a different dimension. Rob, I'm going to give you a run for your money.
Oh, Lord, you would fit in with those guys great then. Because it's like, there was one show we did where the guy said, he goes, they can clap their hands and teleport to different directions. I'm like, okay, just got stupid.
Okay. But how can you explain those branches just being broke right off it? Who can do that? Who has the strength to break those branches right over?
The wind.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I put a lot of logic behind a lot of different other things, and especially when you're talking about.
You can play devil's advocate too.
Well, no, it's kind of like what you were saying about the military being a lot further ahead, and well, that's always been that way. I mean, seriously, it's always been that way, and it's for a good cause. It's not that we need to know about this, because take it this way, what would humanity do right now if we knew that there was actual aliens on another planet right now? How would that change our society right now?
Hopefully for the better. I don't know.
People would freak out.
They probably would. I don't. Like
If
that
we
Men in
see-
Black movie.
Yeah.
Kay, he would say, what did he say? People don't need to know the truth. They're like kind of what you just said.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Don't ask something that you don't want to know the answer to.
Something like that.
Because the thing about it is, if we saw a spaceship in the sky, people would freak. Because what do you call it?
We've been programmed to be fearful.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And then we talk about we're getting ready to go to Mars. We're getting ready to go back to the moon and stuff like that. The things that got me is that the billions of dollars that we're spending to go to Mars, and we already have had probes there. We already have done this. We know that we cannot sustain life there.
NASA and others are wasting Americans' tax dollars on idiotic stuff.
We can't live there. There's nothing. There is absolutely zero reason why we have to step foot on Mars. There's no reason for it.
I don't want to stop any kind of, anything, but I do know that when you're taking tax dollars from the people and billions and billions and billions, it's trillion. Oh, sorry, $30 trillion. Yeah, about that. That they've used. And that's not nice when we're scraping to get by, with these overdrafts in the banks. I saw some kind of post that said how millions of dollars where people that don't even have the money are paying these you know what I mean? The whole system stinks, and this country needs a high enema. Remember that from that movie? I don't even remember the movie, but I just do remember.
I remember.
It does, and I wanted to move out of the country because I can't stand it, but anywhere you go, they are with satellites.
It's the same.
So I got to stand in my country and defend it and fight for it, because we have been too busy watching Kim Kardashian's ass to make the right decisions about who to get in. You know what I mean? Like
I got you.
Yeah, I'm getting a little flustered. But anyways, no, I am calm, calming the heart, calming the mind, calming the nervous system. I did that with my uncle right before his VA appointment. I went to Wyoming, Michigan. But it was so low. I guess it worked so good. He never has a low reading, but it was like really low for him.
That's good.
Yeah.
So this new show is Pam's going to be launching it pretty soon. We don't have a launch date yet, but we're hoping that we can get it out there. We'd like to get everything. We got to get the website built.
We need to do this soon, because I got a January 8th and 11th even is the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the message astrologically. But I mean, you can only do what you can do. You're busy, but this is my commitment. So anytime we can work on, and I'll work on my content, and I've already asked people on Facebook, what do you want to learn about? This is about all of you. I want to know everybody's story, how they got to where they got to be, because everyone has a story. traumatic if you live on Earth. This is a school, and we all have the same thing in common. We've all suffered. And I want to know everyone's story face to face. One day I want to see every one of you.
So now you get an idea of how it really works.
That's cool.
You know,
I like it.
It's like it's not uncomfortable.
Not until I hear my voice. I mean, I hear it now and it's fine, but like when I was a kid and play back a tape recorder, I'm like, that's not what I sound like. That's not what I sound like. So,
yeah, well, I'll explain to you why we do that.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't understand why that is. But the one of the greatest things we have is technology these days, and this is how you're going to reach a lot of people.
yes.
So with that being said, you know, with GHTR, we're coming up on we are at 2020 right now. It's a new year.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we can make plans. We can set this off. So I think we're going to do well. So is there
do
anything you
too.
want to tell anybody before we end this?
Just, I love you all. We are all a part of this. You know, it's like looking at a puzzle. We're all these pieces of the puzzle. And without that one piece, then that puzzle is not complete. And we are all important. Nobody deserves to decide who lives or dies.
That's right.
And I have a lot to say in my heart. You know, I love everybody. And everyone's on their journey back to the Creator. I'm not to judge you where you are on your journey. I'm human too, so I got annoyed yesterday by somebody that was challenging me, you know, like it's like, you know, so there was a lesson in that. When you get triggered, you better stop and say, what's the lesson in this for me? But just to look at everybody, we would be a lot better off if we could look at everybody and with compassion and empathy and forgiveness and realize that they are on their way back to the Creator too, like we are. We're not all at the same level.
Correct.
And then those of us that are higher better reach down on that ladder and go help others. You know, it's like a Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion and mercy. She was ready to, you know, go to that next level, and she heard the children crying down here. She said, I am not going without, you know, I want to help free everybody. So it's like those kind of energies I'm dealing with, you know.
Correct.
Then there's a Native American in it too. And there's a whole lot to me. Like I said, I'm a multidimensional being, just like all of you. And I happen to know a little bit, you know, a thing or two that I want to share with all of you. And I love you. Peace and aloha. Bye for now.
There she goes. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for believing in my message. It's not me, okay? It's not me, because I say it's not my will. My little will gets in the way. It gets me in trouble. It's thy will be done, you know. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. And I want to help bring that heaven to earth, because the mess we will clean up ourselves. The mess we will clean up. And then the king and queen will come to sup.
There you go. There you go. So you can actually subscribe to our channel.
Please do.
Yeah,
you don't want to miss a thing, people. I'm telling you, everyone, the whole world will be tuned into this channel as if it because you know what? The mainstream media, if you're listening to this now, you're obviously caught on to the mainstream media, are owned by six, you know, help me out here. They're owned by people that don't want you to know the truth.
No,
okay?
right.
They misinformation, and so people need to come to these kind of channels to get the truth.
Well, that's
and
true,
they will.
We're not going to give you fake news.
No. And if you know something, please, and if you need to correct, you know, we're open. We're not, you know, I don't think I know everything. I don't think you know everything. I mean, you're willing to learn.
I know everything.
That's why you decided to help me with this. You know, thank you, Rob.
What it was is,
you got a great heart. You are the guy that helps everybody too. You know that?
Yeah, I know.
You are.
I try to.
Well, that's what even your Facebook thing. I'd like people to remember me as the guy who helps people, and you do. I mean, you have right along. So
I have. You know, that's.
I mean, we'll get into all that, and we'll get into that strobe light things. No, just kidding. Made him laugh. He almost died that day, but my dad was there then too. Huh?
Yeah, you saved my life for sure.
Stan the man.
So, all right. So, everybody, thank you for coming in and listening to us. Make sure you subscribe below.
Yes.
I'll put a couple links down, and we will keep you informed of the launch date for Pam's website and her new YouTube channel. All right?
Thank you.
So, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye.